Hello, my beautiful manifestors. It is Olivia Grace and I'm back with another video. And today I am talking with you guys just based off of comments, coaching that I do, and just problems that I see people going through. And really all of these problems can be summed up because your circumstances don't matter. It's not the circumstance. It's not the amount of time it's taken. It's not because you've never done it before. It's not even really because of some block or anything like that. It's really one, or most of the time what I see is all three of these principles that are kind of honestly being ignored. And I want to just start the video. I'm going to explain it to you guys through a Neville story. Okay. One thing about Neville is he has bunches and bunches and bunches. His lectures are full of success stories. And it's literally always the same thing. They go into the SATs, they come out and it happens, or sometimes they go into SATs, they do the scene and it doesn't work, but they persist, right? So a lot of people, what I see is people are being hearers of the word and not doers of the word. And that, like, listening to videos, you guys, it's not necessarily going to help you. It gives you that boost, right? It gives you that kind of rush of like happiness or excitement or hope, but it's not going to actually change your subconscious mind by just listening to videos or even reading books or anything like that, right? Neville really literally gives you the keys to what to do, okay? And I know a lot of people don't like to read Neville. They rather get it from a second source. That's how I was. But it is beneficial to actually read it from the source himself because his teacher Abdullah really is the person that coined this whole law of assumption, but Neville is one of the best teachers of it. So you should listen to it from the actual person because a lot of people are kind of misleading people, not purposefully, but they're just going off of what their experience was. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Oh, and one more thing before we do, I am still offering coaching for half off until the end of January. So you guys have a few more days and then everything else will be full price. And I have a lot of other great things coming to you guys, which I'll tell you guys in another video. So I'm going to talk about the story where Neville manifested himself out of the army. And I'm using this story because it highlights all three of the things that I'm talking about. So the law of assumption, you make an assumption, okay? You do the SATs, you go to sleep in that energy as if, not even in the energy, as if it's true. You go to sleep in the assumption, fall asleep in the assumption, and you persist. These are the three things, okay? Where a lot of people fall off is persisting. A lot of people, they don't see it right away, or they're going through the purge or the old man dying and they give up, right? But a lot of people also don't even do the first two. You know what I mean? They don't even do what he tells you to do. So, and then like they want us as coaches to tell like, well, give me the magic keys, say something. There's nothing that I can say to like rearrange your subconscious mind. There's nothing that I can say to rearrange your reality. You are the God of your reality, not me. And you guys, I know sometimes y'all leave comments, but I don't see them. I don't know why. So I don't know. I'll just respond if I see them after. But okay. So Neville manifesting himself out of the army. He was in the army. He got drafted into the army. I believe this was like World War II. And he didn't want to be there, obviously. And so what did he do? He assumed that he was home with his wife and his daughter. So every night he would go to sleep in like as if he was in his apartment in New York. So he would see his apartment, he would see his wife's bed, his wife sleeping, he would see his child sleeping, he would go around in his imagination as if he were at home with his wife, right? So he made that assumption, first of all. Now, what is an assumption, you guys, right? Because this is where people are getting tripped up with like doing all kinds of things, right? An assumption is accepting something as true without any proof of it. So when someone, maybe you see a really pretty girl and you're like, oh, I bet she's a stuck-up snob, right? But you've never talked to her. You don't know anything about her. You don't know anyone that knows her. You just assumed that, right? So you made that as like a fact without knowing or having any evidence. This is what an assumption is, right? So this is why, you guys, this is This is why the circumstance does not matter. So many people come in the comments and they're like, well, me and my SP, it's been this happened and it's been this long. And, me and this thing it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay. Because you're assuming something to be true that doesn't appear to be true. You're assuming that it is. It doesn't matter what it looks like or what it has been or what it is right now. You're assuming it, right? So really get that kind of ingrained, what an assumption is. You're accepting something as true without the evidence of it, okay? So evidence is a non-factor, all right? That's the first thing. The second thing is the state akin to sleep. Neville went to sleep as if he was in his apartment, right? And he then, that impresses your subconscious mind. This is why SATS is so important. SATS being the state akin to sleep. Hi, Satina. Your subconscious mind is what is really manifesting. Okay. Your conscious mind manifests too, but your conscious mind is a questioning mind. Your conscious mind is the logical masculine mind, right? So when you assume something, right, that is with your conscious mind and you're saying, oh, I have, an extra $1,000 in my bank account. Your conscious mind is looking at your bank account and saying, well, no, you don't. I'm looking at what the facts are. Your subconscious mind doesn't question what you impress on it. It doesn't look for facts to validate what you say, right? So even think about dreaming, right? Because a dream is basically a play put on by your subconscious mind. I mean, really, all of this is kind of a play put on by your subconscious mind. But in your dreams, when you see purple elephants flying in the sky, you don't, most of the time, unless you're like an avid lucid dreamer, most of the time you don't go, wow, elephants aren't supposed to fly or be purple. That doesn't make sense. You don't say that. You just accept it. You're like, oh yeah, that makes sense because the circus is in town, because it's your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind accepts, no matter if it makes sense, no matter if anything, right? So with the assumption, now you're seeing how these two things go together. Hi, Kiaria. Now you're seeing how these two things go together. When you're assuming something without the fact, right? But you're pressing it on your subconscious mind that has the fact. A lot of you guys are assuming something and then you're affirming all day with your conscious mind. But every time you're doing that, you're just kind of putting yourself more in your conscious mind is not accepting what you're telling it, right? So you really want to be able to impress that subconscious mind, which is why SATS is so important. And it's what Neville teaches you guys. It is what he teaches. I have never listened to a Neville lecture and him say to affirm all day. I've never heard him say that. I've never heard him talk about scripting. I've never heard him talk about a lot of things, you guys. He literally sticks to the same things. Now, let's get back to the story. Neville has, he's done his SAT scene. He takes his appeal because he wanted to be honorably discharged. He didn't want to just leave the army and be dishonorably discharged, but he did not want to be there. So he takes his appeal to his general or whoever has to let him out, and they denied him. Okay. They denied him. So what does Neville do? He persists. Neville does not say, oh, he told me no, so that means it can't happen and it's never going to happen. And oh, it just never works for me. And this is what, and I'm saying this, you guys, but this is what people do. Oh, I did my SAT scene for 2 nights and, I texted him and he told me not to text him anymore. So none of this work. And it's no, you're not persisting. You have to persist, you guys. And I said, I think in another video, and I'll say it in this one again, every freaking manifestation, every big manifestation that I have manifested, I have had a time where it did not work out. It always does that first. I don't know what that is, but really it's the old story coming up, but it doesn't matter. The person told him, no, we're not approving this. You're going to be here. Sorry about that. Neville persisted. He revised it, which I have a video on revision, which is so amazing. I will link it in the description for you guys to check it out as well. He revised it and ended up going back to the general, I think it was the next day or the next couple days or next couple weeks or something like that, and was approved and was let out of the army. Okay. So you create the assumption. Don't assume that. Here's something that trips you up, you guys. Don't assume it's coming. Don't assume it's one day. Don't assume eventually. Assume it now, because that person, that version of you exists in the now. And I'm not going to get all into that because I have plenty of videos talking about that. But the version of you that you are manifesting that has what you want is in existence. So you are assuming to be that person, and that is what moves you into that energy now. Okay? You assume it. You do sats. You fall asleep in the mood as the person, in the energy of the person that has the thing that you want. Okay? And this is important, you guys. It's important to do it as you're falling to sleep, because this is when you have a window, like we said, you know, when you're awake, you're full on conscious mind. You know, you're full on with you're operating off your conscious mind. When you're sleeping, you're operating off of your subconscious mind, right? When you're falling off to sleep, you are in the in-between phase of your conscious and your subconscious. So you're conscious, now you can suggest things consciously because you're still kind of awake, but they go directly to your subconscious, okay? And then everything that needs to happen to allow your manifestation to unfold will happen naturally, okay? Now, and the last thing is to persist. Keep going. It does not matter what it looks like. Doesn't matter if it hasn't worked. Doesn't matter if it's been 2 days or 2 weeks or however, 2 months, however long that you've been persisting. You keep persisting until it's done, not until you're tired of it, not until, you know, whatever. You persist until it's done, okay? If you do these 3 things, you guys, you will get what you want. I promise you. I can promise you 100% literally. If you do these 3 things, you will get what you want. But people don't want to do these 3 things. And I want to end this video with this, okay? When Neville got himself out of the army, he ended up being drafted in the army for about 6 months, and he was able to come home, okay? He wrote to a friend that was in the army with him, and his friend basically didn't believe him and was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm not doing, you know, he told him about what he did, doing his sats and everything like that. And he, you know, his friend was like, oh, you know, I'm not doing that. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And, you know, you're always talking about all these fairy tale things, whatever, you know, didn't believe him. And guess what? That friend was in the army until like for another 3 years or something like that. So the difference, this is the difference, you guys, between being a hearer of the word and being a doer of the word, is just how long are you going to suffer without your desire? I'm pretty sure the guy that didn't want to listen to Neville would have rather been at home, you know, than to be in war fighting. But he didn't believe. He wasn't a doer of the word. He didn't want to actually do what Neville said. So that was the consequence, was that he just had to stay in the army. Neville did what he did, and so he was out of the army and back with his family in 6 months, okay? So be a doer, you guys, before you pay a coach. Even me, you guys, and I'm telling you this as a coach, because guess what I'm going to tell you? To do sats, you know, like, do the thing. Do the thing, you guys. Don't do all these other things that people are telling you to do, all this stuff. They're learning from the master. Listen to the master, okay? Listen to what he is telling you to do, all right? Assume, sats, persist. Do those things. You will get what you want. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you guys in the next video.